Hola, hola. Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Bienvenidos nuevamente a otro Jenny Live. Espero de que estén teniendo una buena noche. Aquí me avisan muy a la hora de que ya, listo, y siempre me agarran haciendo algo. ¿Cómo están? What's up, guys? Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing evening. Hope you had a great weekend. It's Monday. Yay! I know, nobody's really thinking that, right? It's Monday. Boo-hoo. Everybody has to go back to work. Anyway, we're here. We're live. This is Jenny Live. You guys haven't seen it before. This is our 1,600 and something show. So come along, chat, interact live. We do have a live chat. It's miamitv.chatbro.com. We're doing a little backstage on TikTok again. Yeah, I had to open a new account because, as you guys know, I went live from our resort pool, and apparently something showed. So sorry. So now we have a new TikTok. It's my full crazy last name. So it's Jenny Scordamaglia _ Find me there, and yeah, we'll be doing some jungle lives. Why not? ¿Cómo están, amigos? Bueno, estamos también en vivo, estamos en Facebook, en Twitter, en Miami TV, en Roku, nos pueden ver en Roku también, y estamos hoy nuevamente en TikTok. ¿Cómo están, amigos? Bienvenidos. Se acuerdan que habían cerrado la cuenta, así que bueno, volvimos a abrir. Es normal en la vida mía que me cierren las cuentas de redes sociales, no se preocupen. So it's normal in our social, I always get my social media banned, always. It's just like, it always happens. I don't know. Don't even ask why. I mean, I see people show stuff and I don't show anything and they still get banned. But it's all right. It's normal. Okay. How about we talk about exorcisms today? Ooh, how many people actually don't believe in exorcisms? Like, this is just a myth. It doesn't exist. It's just from movies. And speaking of, isn't like the new Exorcist supposed to be coming out? I read something on Twitter that they paused the launch so that it didn't interfere with the Taylor Swift concert or tour. Damn, that woman has power, right? And yeah, I guess everybody that isn't a Taylor Swift fan that wanted to watch the movie, you're just gonna have to wait. I'm not a big fan of scary movies, mainly because I know they're real. So I feel like when you watch a movie and for you it's just science fiction and sci-fi, it's just like whatever, it's there, it's a movie, don't be scared, these are actors. But when you have to actually deal with these things in real life, like I do, for example, which is fun, by the way. It's a lot of fun. I love it because I can do it, so it's okay. You no longer see those movies with the same eye. It's more like, oh my God, yes, these things happened. There's one movie that actually really freaked me out, and it was after that I stopped watching scary movies. It was Paranormal Activity, the ones that were put out like that they were security cameras, but then they ended up doing them with real, but they seem like they're security cameras. So yeah, Paranormal Activity was like 1, 2, 4, 1 through 4 or something. That is as real as it gets, you guys, unfortunately. But this is gonna happen to you. It's just these are possibilities, and yes, there's a lot of entities and demons going around in the world today, unfortunately. But all you gotta do is just stay positive, or wear an amethyst. These help as well. I don't know if it's gonna protect you, but it's definitely gonna do something. ¿Cómo están, amigos? Bienvenidos. Estamos en vivo. Bienvenidos a nuestros miembros de Miami TV. Hoy hablaremos un poco de los exorcismos. Hay un tema que salió sobre eso. Hola, hola. Hey, guys. Hey, David, Joe, Jen. What's up, guys? ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos. Okay. A ver, se me perdió el exorcismo. It says, exorcists may be accidentally helping the devil. A top pastor is actually warning people, coming out and saying, guys, stop doing exorcisms. I'm not a big fan of pastors either. Some of them are great. Others are just kind of there to take your money. And it's like, why you got to do that? Come on. So many people in need today. All right, let's see what it says. This is from the Daily Star, by the way. It says, U.S. preacher Dan Dalsell said that 400 acknowledged exorcists around the world who perform rituals to exorcise the devil are unknowingly spreading the doctrines of the demons. They could actually be a useful weapon in Satan's arsenal. He said priests who perform rituals to exorcise the devil are spreading doctrines of demons. The preacher said the devil might be unfazed by their work. But taking on Satan on good versus evil battles, exorcists may be inadvertently boosting the Antichrist influence. There are currently 400 registered exorcists in the world. In Italy, which alone boats, 240. The struggle to deal with 500,000 requests a year. I probably have to be the 401, right? But in the real way. So this is silly. The fact that somebody's saying this, there's no way of. No, they're not doing anything bad. Yes, there are practices and special ways of these things being done. I was telling you guys the other day of my trip to Querétaro, where we visited this ancient monk convent, okay, like really ancient from like the 1600. And of course, now abandoned. It's a place where you could just go and do tourism and look at all their books and stuff. And they used to perform exorcisms. So it isn't so, I think like it's overrated for the fact that why did they put it under the Catholic name? It makes no sense. I mean, there's a lot of people, and I'm sure more than 400 that actually perform exorcisms in the world. You don't have to be a priest, no, and you don't have to be Catholic, no. So I know personally, I mean, I even know people in my family. So, you know, there's a lot of people that work daily in removing negativities, because that's really what it is, from people in different ways, okay? It could be reading a Bible or reading a book or saying prayers or holy water or many, many different ways. So yeah, these things are being done. I mean, you could be doing a semi-mini exorcism to somebody just by talking to them. So I feel like there's the word, it's so scary when we hear it, right? Like exorcism, it's like, ah. But there's really all types of exorcisms where if it means removing negativity from a person's body somewhat in some way and in some level, it's an exorcism, you guys. So yeah, believe it or not, when you're allowing somebody to vent their problems to you and you're listening and you're there, you know, you're allowing them to vent their negative energy through their words to you. So if you're prepared for it, great, take it. If you're not, then you're going to be in the group of people that you're going to have a headache afterwards, you're going to feel sleepy, and you're going to be like, why did I just talk to that person and all of a sudden I just feel like my energy was sucked out of me? Yes, this happens. So I always say, don't try to help others until you are in a level of energy where you're strong enough yourself and you're not going to get affected. So yeah, did you ever think about that you could be doing an exorcism? ¿Alguna vez han pensado quizás que ustedes también en algún momento u otro pueden haber hecho un exorcismo? Sí. Dicen, hay un pastor en Estados Unidos que se llama Dan Dalzell, que dice de que los 400 exorcistas que están en el mundo haciendo rituales para exorcizar el demonio de las personas, aparentemente según esto, el Vaticano tiene más de 500.000 peticiones de exorcismos al año. Y esto quizás, vamos a decir, porque es algo que está documentado, ¿no? Pero vamos a pensar, ¿saben la cantidad de gente que trabaja haciendo exorcismos diario? O sea, el hecho de que me parece medio ridículo que cuando uno escuche exorcismo directamente lo relacionamos con la Iglesia Católica, lo relacionamos con el Vaticano. Creo de que es algo ridículo porque no tiene nada que ver con esas dos cosas, o sea, es algo totalmente que tiene que ver con la fe, en realidad, de la persona, la fuerza y la energía que pueda manipular la persona. Entonces, sí, hay entrenamientos que puedes hacer para poder hacer exorcismos, por eso van a estas escuelas. Es sumamente peligroso eso, o sea, las películas, y esto, ¿por qué vamos a hablar de esto? Porque está por salir la película del Exorcista. No soy fanática de esas películas, creo que solamente me vi la primera, pero no soy fanática de las películas de miedo, de fantasmas o de entidades o de exorcismos, porque son reales. Entonces, como es algo que yo personalmente en mi vida personal lo vivo diario, porque trato gente con estos problemas, pues es como que ya no pasa de ficción a la realidad. Entonces, cuando lo estás viendo, Enrique al menos me dice de que cuando uno ve películas de terror, estás también un poco vulnerable, porque el miedo te hace que estés vulnerable. Entonces, es diferente mirarla y simplemente verla con un punto de vista de, bueno, ciencia ficción, eso no es real, no existe, bla, 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 a mirarla y decir, wow, sí, eso es lo que pasó la semana pasada con fulana o fulano de tal. Entonces, te cambia un poquito la cosa. Ya uno no quiere ver esas cosas cuando sabes de que es real y lo has vivido personalmente. Es horrible. Bueno, déjenme leerles el artículo, a ver. Dice, este factor dice de que los demonios, de que las personas que están quitando los demonios de estas personas, o sea, los pastores, perdón, en realidad podrían estar usándolo, se podrían estar usando como para armar una, está en inglés, un arsenal de soldados, porque según él lo que están haciendo es que están desparramando ¿qué serían doctrinados? No sé si es la palabra en español. No, acá están en otra cosa. Me están ponchando el video. Bueno, como que están desparramando esas negatividades de los demonios alrededor en el aire. Dice, los exorcistas quizás estén ayudando a la influencia del anticristo. Están en el momento 400 exorcistas registrados en el mundo, en Italia, lo cual solamente deja 240 que están activos y están con 500.000 peticiones al año. Em, entonces, bueno, sale esa persona diciendo que lo que están haciendo no está ayudando para nada, que al contrario está haciendo que lo que salga pues se quede alrededor, entre en otras personas. Em, Dice, nadie entra al cielo por ser un exorcista, en realidad están ayudando a que el demonio se mueva. Bueno, un montón de otras cosas, ay, ay, ay. Luego lo sigo leyendo en inglés. Pero, ¿se acuerdan la historia que les conté del lugar que fuimos hace una semana, que era un ex convento de monjes, donde ahí de por sí hacían exorcismos? Estas personas no formaban parte del catolicismo, ¿no? O sea, seguro tampoco habían tomado ningún curso, pero pasa lo siguiente, todos tenemos ese poder que siempre yo le llamo, ¿no? De poder canalizar energía. Sin embargo, si tu energía va a estar siendo usada específicamente para ese tipo de trabajos, que es quitar negatividad de las personas, tienes que estar o sumamente fuerte o tener un don, hay muchas personas que tienen dones, o realmente pues tener ese carácter duro para poder hablar esas palabras que te enseñan en los libros, en las Biblias o las frases, los mantras, lo que le quieran llamar, para que lo que tú estás diciendo realmente haga una diferencia. Sin embargo, los exorcismos hechos basados en la Biblia y en los libros tienen algo que no es bueno. Y ahora se los voy a contar, que eso no se habla tampoco. Pero es mejor que nada. Y por otro lado, hay miles de personas en el mundo que hacen exorcismos, pero miles. Lo que pasa es que, claro, como no hicieron la escuela, como no estuvieron... no forman parte de la iglesia, pues no son vistos como tal, pero hoy en día existe más la limpieza, lo que se llama, ¿no? El quitar de negatividades de las personas, a llamarlo un exorcismo. Sin embargo, son exorcismos grandes, pequeños, medianos, súper leves. Tú podrías estar hasta ayudando a quitar negatividad de una persona solo por permitir que esa persona te hable, te cuente sus problemas. Es algo que si no estás preparado para... Acuérdense que la voz es energía, entonces cuando la persona te está hablando, te está contando lo mal que le fue en el día, lo mal que está pasando, o sea, toda esa vibración de voz, si vos no estás preparado, no estás contento con tu vida, por lo menos, si no estás feliz y con esa protección de positividad, lo único que va a hacer es que esas palabras que estás escuchando de esa persona que se te está quejando de la vida constantemente, las estás absorbiendo. Por eso es muy importante siempre darse cuenta quién te rodea. O sea, es bueno ser el hombro en cual las personas quizás lloran de vez en cuando si está fuerte para tomarlo, ¿no? Para escucharlo. Pero de lo contrario, no estamos encima en épocas donde se deberían poner en situaciones de ayuda hacia otras personas si no están realmente 100% positivos o al menos mucho más positivos como para poder enfrentar la descarga verbal de otra persona, porque recuerden de que la voz es energía, ¿no? So, your voice, like we always say, you guys, it's energy. So imagine, did you ever think maybe that when you're listening to people's problems, you are absorbing that energy? You are. So poor psychologists. Maybe there's a reason why I didn't become a psychologist. For me, it was like too many books. No, no, no. And then another thing that I thought, because it's fascinating, but another thing that I thought was, I don't want to charge people to be able to help them. And yeah, it's just I feel bad for psychologists today. I think they probably are very booked all the time because people need somebody to listen to them, right? And at the same time, they're constantly absorbing that energy, but they're prepared for that. They're trained to not let it affect them, of course. But you, on the other hand, us as regular citizens of the world, that maybe you're just listening to your friends' problems all the time, are in fact absorbing that energy because the exhale itself, the air that comes out of your mouth, and the voice, the vibration of the voice is an energy that you're discharging. So by getting rid of all those things that you didn't like throughout the day and talking to them to a specific person constantly, you are unfortunately throwing crap to them. I'm sorry, that's the truth. So yeah, now if you're doing it to each other, then I think it's, at least you're even. So keep that in mind. It's like, okay, you vent, but let me vent too. So then we're both spitting negativity at each other. But remember that it's also good to get rid of those emotions. So you do need to talk about it. So if you have somebody to talk about it that doesn't get affected, then bravo. Now, if you ever do start getting a headache when somebody's talking to you about these things, then maybe just take a step back, say, you know what, I don't feel so good. Let's talk tomorrow. And yeah, leave the room. All right, guys, let me go to our chats. I know we have a lot, so I already went to our Miami TV One Hey members. And aquí estamos. ¿Cómo están, amigos? Estamos en YouTube. Hello, Robert, Cristiano, bienvenidos. Love you from Russia. Hey, guys, interesante. Hola, Nancy, ¿cómo estás? Tarcisio, bienvenido. Hey, guys, name, good take. Saludos desde Perú, ¿cómo estás? Darío, Dani, Israel, desde Puebla, México, te amo y te miro siempre. Qué bueno. Saludos desde Chicago, Illinois. Hola, hola, ¿cómo está el clima por allá? Oh, Linda, hola. Love watching Dating Life for years. Trying to learn Spanish now. You are awesome. I think English, Spanish, and Chinese are probably, without wanting to disrespect anybody, but I think they're probably the three most important languages today, because there's so many Spanish people everywhere all of a sudden. And well, China, they're really big in the world. Sexy woman, hello. Hola, ¿cómo estamos desde México? Preciosa Antonio, José, ¿cómo están? Bueno, en algún momento han tenido, ¿desde cuándo te interesó el nudismo? A mí me empezó a interesar el nudismo nunca, en realidad. Yo empecé con el tema de la desnudez por un tema energético que tengo, y bueno, es algo que por eso empecé el nudismo. Tengo un don literalmente que nací con él, que es emanar energía a través de los poros, que en realidad no es un don porque todo el mundo lo hace, solo que en el caso mío es, vamos a decir, si en una persona normal es un 1, en una persona que tiene un don de esta energía sexual es como un 10. Entonces logras hacer cambios en personas bastante drásticos de una forma rápida. A través de los años, pues lo he manejado para que vaya hacia mis manos. Ahora lo estoy trabajando para que la energía vaya hacia mi mente, para que trabaje la energía de la voz y prontamente la energía de la mirada. Entonces, bueno, son cosas que en realidad son ejercicios que si uno realmente se dedicase a la energía corporal, podrías llegar a tener todos esos dones despiertos. A mí porque, bueno, formó parte de mi vida de una forma u otra, y eso les contaré en mi nueva autobiografía que estaremos haciendo, que acabo de abrir el canal de YouTube. No he lanzado todavía los videos porque quiero hacerlos haciendo una regresión, volviendo atrás en algunos hechos de mi vida que fueron súper traumantes, y pues ya no me acuerdo. Pero bueno, les dejo el canal de YouTube que está con 000 para cuando empecemos, que es el nombre mío. De hecho, a ver, no, ¿cómo le pusimos? Ya ni me acuerdo. Jenny's Naked Truth, creo que le pusimos. La desnuda verdad de Jenny o algo así. Donde ahí sabrán por qué yo hablo tanto de las cosas que hablo, y bueno, por qué me fascinan tantos estos temas. Jenny, when did you start loving nudism? I don't think there wasn't like a thing that I said, hey, all of a sudden I want to start being a nudist. So, I did put tape on today because, we can't risk it on YouTube. So you guys got a glimpse of the tape, sorry. But no, it's just something that consequentially happened where because of a gift that I have of emanating positive energy and channeling this energy together with my husband, it was required. The nudity was kind of required just because the energy, you train it to come out of your pores, and everybody exhales energy from their pores, guys. It's nature, human nature. That's why you get vibes from people, right? But if you train your body, or in this case, if you're born with a gift of having a stronger energy being exhaled from your body and influencing other people in a positive way, of course, then you start to just train your body to do that more and more and stronger throughout the years. So that's why nudism just kind of went together, because my way of emanating energy was through my body, and the energy that I master per se is the sexual energy, which is the vital energy, the chi. So yeah, it's been fun 14 years. But I've opened a new YouTube account. Nobody's signed up yet, so I'm telling you the name now. It's called Jenny's Naked Truth, and it's gonna be my video autobiography about, well, basically from when I was born. The first video, my mom's gonna do it the day that I was born, and then yeah, we'll do them from there. But I'm gonna take my time, just because some sequenced events I want to do specifically through a regression, and I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna be able to do a regression to myself. It's dangerous, but you're able to do them. Just because I want it to be put out there in detail as much as possible, specifically tragic moments of my life that I went through. So yeah, it's gonna be teary, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be, there's gonna be all sorts of emotions there. But you're gonna maybe understand a little bit more of why I do what I do. Let's see you in Vegas. I could just show you a great time, some of the greatest adult X-rated clubs. There's great adult X-rated clubs. I wanted to go to Vegas for my birthday, but and my birthday's this month, but there's so many things going on that I think it's just gonna have to wait. It's gonna have to wait for me a little bit more. ¿Cómo estás? Beautiful and confident. Hey. Un abrazo para Brasil. ¿Cómo estás? Eres mi presentadora favorita en Twitch. Perdón, YouTube. Gracias. Digo, uy, ¿estamos en Twitch también? No, casi. O sea, ¿dónde más? Es que son tantos los lugares que, ay, hay que tener, hay que tener paciencia. Y no puedo llegar a todos los chats. ¿Por qué no hacen uno que hace que uno transmita en todos lados? Ok, volvemos con los exorcismos. ¿Dónde me quedé? All right, let's go back to our topic, guys. I totally lost it. Where did we go? Where are you, exorcists? So I've gotten to the point, if I don't find it, I'm just going to have to, okay, here it is. I've gotten to the point of treating people that have been vomiting blood. Like that's how bad their negativity was. It was a woman, a friend of our family, and doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. She did every single treatment that they could possibly say. Always go to the doctors first, of course. But the thing is, when negativity is inside of your body enough time, it's going to start affecting your health. And call it negativity, call it demons, call it whatever the heck you want. I don't care. It's there and it exists, okay? So there is no, if you have something why is there always some kind of fly? We're talking about exorcisms and there's a fly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, flies are not a good sign either when there's a lot of them. If there's one, not a big deal. Anyway, so if your body's pure, if your body's positive, if there's only positivity in your body, you're not going to have any sign of any illness. The moment that some kind of illness comes, unless it's something hereditary, it's going to come because at some point, well, not only your immune system went down, but remember that when your immune system gets down, you become vulnerable to illnesses. But at the same time, you become vulnerable to energies. So if there's anything in your body that is weak, let's say maybe you have trouble in your stomach more often, or you have trouble with your headaches, or whatever it is that you have a weak spot in, the negativity is going to attack that specifically directly. Why? Because if you are sick, you're not strong enough to protect yourself or generate positive energy. When we're sick, we are vulnerable. We just want to lay in bed. We're lazy. We don't want to do anything. Maybe we're in a bad mood. So everything goes together. So keep that in mind. Okay, the reason why I was speaking about that is because of this woman. I'm gonna save her name, but I'm sure save her name, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind anyway if I talked about it. And she lived with her husband next to a cemetery, like across the street from a cemetery. This couple was very wealthy, or is very well. Actually, well, I don't know if I lost touch with them, but they were very wealthy. And the guy was a famous painter, lots of money. But his wife was sick, and she was up to the point where no doctors could find after 2 years what was going on with her, and up to the point where she started vomiting blood. So they started looking at the spiritual side of the problem, right? What could be happening that nobody can find the problem, and it's gotten that bad. Um, so let's put aside, of course, that if you're living next to a cemetery, and I'm sorry if you're one of them, yeah, you should move, because this is where there's most suspended souls, okay? Souls that haven't been able to move on, souls that are stuck. Normally, when souls can't move on and are stuck, negativity comes along and basically like traps them, which is even worse. So cemeteries, you think that they should be a place of peace, but they're actually the total opposite. Now, it doesn't mean that every single person that is buried there is stuck. These are specific cases, okay? But the thing is that there's a lot of them. There's people that that are stuck because their family never came to say goodbye. Even it could be as simple as that, where they're traumatized or they died from one day to the next. Nobody came to recover the body, and it's an unnamed grave or things like that. Suicides. I mean, you have so many things. Like, this is a long subject. So living next to it immediately makes you exposed to these energies. These are energies that are sorrowing, these are energies that are sad, they're traumatized, they're depressed. So imagine having right next to you, right, a person that you cannot see because they're no longer in your dimension, but they're there and they're stuck and they can't move on. That feeling of depression, that feeling of sadness, or that feeling of maybe even alcoholism or drug, I mean, if they had something in their physical life, a vice, right, and they're stuck, they're going to remember those vices and they're going to want to be near them. So it's very normal that you will feel this way. So I'm not going to say everybody that lives near a cemetery is going to suffer from depression, but somebody should do some kind of a quest and go out and interview everybody that lives next to a cemetery and see how their life is, because unless you're very protected, it's very normal that you're going to absorb some of these energies. Not everybody's susceptible also to these energies. So, I mean, they can affect you mainly if you're vulnerable. And vulnerable, when I mean vulnerable, is when your character or personality isn't as strong, right? Where you don't know how to say no, where um, you get carried away easily, or you get influenced easily, or people walk all over you. These are the softies. Okay, let's call them softies. And I was one of them. So hey, don't take it as offense. Meaning that you're always the nice one, right? So you don't take a stand for yourself and just put yourself first for once, and everybody's always first kind of thing. So these kind of people don't have a way of holding on to their energy, so they lose it easily. So when there's energies around that can have these emotions, they're very easily influenced by them. So if you were to happen to go through some kind of depression, all of a sudden it's going to get worse because you have these souls around you, okay? Not even entities, souls that are in suspended souls that are going to feel comfortable with your emotions. So they're going to add more of that emotion to you. Because what do you do when you're sad, right? And we're alive. You're sad. Well, you like to cuddle with somebody and tell them how you're sad, or somebody that's going through a problem. You feel good talking to somebody else that is going through a similar problem. That's why people feel comfortable going to the groups like. Where they're recovering through things that are in the same area, right? It's like, oh, I feel comforted when I hear somebody say that they're also in pain because they lost a loved one, or they're in pain because of this. So you feel comforted, and that's exactly what these souls do. They look for comfort, and if you're an easy prey, unfortunately, and it doesn't mean that they do it because they're evil. It just they look for comfort. So they're looking for somewhere to just kind of feel at home and understood, even if you can't see them or hear them. Let me go in Spanish and we'll continue. Y eso que me puse cinta, gracias. A ver, estábamos hablando, no sé cómo terminamos hablando de esto, pero sobre los exorcismos. A mí una vez me tocó tratar una persona que estaba al punto no al punto, o sea, ya estaba como mal, pero estaba ya vomitando sangre. Y era una familia muy rica en Estados Unidos. Empezaron a buscar pues soluciones espirituales, ¿no? Y justo resulta que eran amistades de la familia mía, entonces bueno, llegaron a mí. Y esta persona ya llevaba como 2 años con problemas de salud, específicamente con problemas en el útero y en el estómago. Ya estaba en un punto donde tosía y le salía sangre. Ningún médico podía encontrar qué era lo que le pasaba. Ya le habían hecho tratamientos. Mejoraba por un ratito y luego volvía a lo mismo. Entonces, bueno, pues dijeron, pues si no hay nada físico o científico que pueda ayudar, busquemos un tema espiritual, ¿no? Y y bueno, lo más loco de todo es que esta familia vivía al lado de un cementerio. En el momento que nosotros llegamos ahí, encima que eran personas semifamosas, llegó aparentemente, habían llamado al National Geographic o algo así, donde yo nunca vi este programa, pero me dijeron que había un programa donde son dos gemelas que son videntes y van a lugares y ven y hablan con espíritus. Nunca lo vi, bueno, me lo contaron, dijeron, no, en el momento que ellas entraron a mi casa, me dijeron, lo sentimos mucho, pero no hay nada que podamos hacer, nos tenemos que retirar de la propiedad. Entonces como que se sintieron desahuciados. Y nosotros me acuerdo que llegamos con Enrique y fue como que una fiesta, ¿no? Como que, fue la primera casa que limpiamos. Pobre Enrique, lo empujaron, lo tiraron hacia una pared de madera. A mí nunca me pasa nada, pero él cuando se separa de mí, pues siempre algo le pasa. Bueno, yo soy la que voy desnuda, la que voy emanando. Él va con ropa. Quizás si fuera desnudo no le hubiera pasado. Bueno, en fin, entonces esta casa, en el momento que entrabas sentías la densidad que había ahí adentro. Era algo increíble, era como que no se podía respirar y empezamos a recorrer, más allá de que estaba a una cuadra de un cementerio, o sea, menos de una cuadra, te digo, como que literalmente cruzás la calle y ahí estaba el cementerio. Estas personas que eran artísticas, ¿no? El señor es un pintor famoso. em, la casa era como una mansión, era una mansión antigua y les encantaba coleccionar cosas antiguas de los años 20. Para hacerles claros, tenían la primer reja de un cementerio de Nueva York. Para hacerles claro. ¿Quién carajo va? ¿Quién sale a buscar la primer reja de un cementerio de una ciudad para ponerla en su patio? Y me dice, sí, es raro, justo ahí donde está la reja, nunca me crece nada, me dice. Dice, puedo regarlo, puedo poner fertilizante, lo que sea, pero nunca me crece nada. Digo, sí, ¿te parece raro? En serio, lo primero que les dije, lo primero que tenés que hacer es sacar de tu casa todo lo que tenés, que son antigüedades. Y eran cosas que valían fortuna. Muebles traídos de Inglaterra, pianos también del Medio Oriente, o sea, recorrieron el mundo y claro, es una forma también, hay gente que es apasionada por eso, pero también es una forma de juntar, cuando tenés mucho dinero, así como las pinturas, ¿no? De comprar cosas que valen mucho dinero y no tener el dinero en el banco, pero lo tenés en algo físico, entonces de esta forma pues también pues, funciona para los taxes y todo, es algo muy normal. Por eso ven que la gente que tiene mucho dinero compra. No es que sean tampoco que necesiten, sino es una forma de hacer valer su dinero. Entonces, no le gustó mucho que le dijera que tiene que sacar todas sus cosas que valían más de $1.000.000 dentro de la casa. Pero le dije, bueno, o tu salud, porque te vas a terminar muriendo. Le decimos literalmente como que iba en ese camino. Y ella lo sabía. Entonces, bueno, tomaron algunas precauciones. Algunas cosas no se deshacieron de ella. Y contaban historias de cómo en la noche escuchaban cómo saltaban en la piscina y se metían en la piscina. Y yo digo, claro, digo, son las almas, o sea, pues, vienen y en la noche las almas bailan. Es como que están adormecidas hasta o sea, siempre están. pero en la noche hay más actividad. No sé, debe ser la energía de la luna y la del sol que la paraliza, quién sabe. Pero cuando cae el sol es cuando empiezan a salir las almas suspendidas, las ánimas, las entidades. Hay entidades que son muy fuertes y están en el día, también pueden afectar. Pero cuando están activas, activas es en la noche. A mí me gusta trabajar de noche. Hi, Luis. Sure. Eres la representación de la perfección. No, bueno, qué exagerado, pero ok. Hi, Delilah Rose. How are you? Thank you. I'm telling you the story about the first house that I ever cleansed. I'll go in English in 1 minute, guys. It was actually a lot of fun, except Enrique that he got thrown through the air. But entonces, bueno, en fin, imagínense que cada vez que ustedes están al lado de un alma suspendida, esa alma va a buscar en dónde refugiarse. No significa que sea mala persona, que haya sido mala persona. Sin embargo, en los cementerios tendrían que ser un lugar de paz, un lugar de descanso, pero en realidad es todo lo contrario. Los cementerios son lugares de estancamiento para muchas almas. ¿Por qué? Tenés almas que simplemente están estancadas porque sienten que se olvidaron de ellos la familia, nadie los vino a visitar, nadie vino al funeral y ahí se quedaron. Hay almas que, bueno, las que se suicidan son otras, o sea, siguen a su cuerpo. En fin, los cementerios están llenísimos de almas, identidades que se aprovechan de esos lugares específicamente para venir a atrapar a las almas y utilizarlos como peones. ¿Por qué? Porque así como tú en vida propia y carne viva sos vulnerable y absorbes negatividades, las almas también. O sea, de por sí tú cuando estás en vida y absorbes negatividades, es como que tu alma se le juntan garrapatas, ¿ok? Y esas garrapatas, si no las limpias, pues se van juntando, juntando, juntando hasta que terminan afectando tu salud, que es en el punto que estaba esta persona. Pero esta persona no estaba en ese punto en particular por eso. O sea, era toda una suma de cosas. Era que el marido le había sido infiel y no lo sabía. Entonces le había pasado, ya había negatividad en el matrimonio. Y encima todo eso aparejado, ¿por qué? Porque estaban viviendo en una casa y recontra invadida y poseída, te diría. No solo porque en la casa había habido una tragedia terrible, donde en el cuarto de arriba se había quemado vivo un señor, el señor que vivía ahí, y encima viven al lado de un cementerio, no. Y encima, para sumarle, em, juntaban cosas antiguas. Cada objeto antiguo, específicamente si es de metal, trae consigo energías agarradas, podríamos decir. Entonces, todas en contra era. Al final nunca me enteré si se mudaron o no, no le seguí la vuelta. En fin, entonces cuando hay almas suspendidas, lo que sucede es que si vos estás en un estado de depresión, imagínate que estas almas, por no poder seguir adelante, justamente lo que les sucede es que están en depresión, están tristes, están melancólicos, les gustaría poder hablar con alguien, pero no pueden. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que hacen? Si tú muestras algún tipo de síntoma emocional igual al de ellas o ellos, vas a ser una atracción, un imán para ellos. Y muchas veces también buscan tu ayuda. Entonces, imagínate en el cementerio, por eso digo, tendrían que hacer una encuesta y entrevistar a todas las personas que viven cerca de cementerios. Algunos cementerios no están tan cargados como otros, pero la mayoría sí. Y a ver cómo está la gente, si la gente está enferma, si la gente progresa, si son felices. No creo que a nadie le interese hacer esa encuesta, pero bueno, a mí me interesaría muchísimo, solo que no tengo el tiempo. Pero la próxima vez que vayan a un cementerio, pregunten a la gente de ahí cómo viven. Normalmente es normal que digan que escuchan ruidos, llantos, gritos en la noche. Esta familia sentía gente que saltaba dentro de la piscina en la noche. Y dicen, pero es que vimos y no hay nada. Y no, ¿qué quieres ver? No va a haber nada. Entonces, bueno, en fin, se hicieron unos trabajos, se caminó la casa. En el momento que íbamos caminando se empezaba a oler un olor a podrido y literalmente las negatividades que se juntan en las casas forman como nubes. Cuando tú exhalas energía positiva en el lugar, esa nube es como que le echas un flip, le echas un repelente y se empieza a pudrir. Entonces, literalmente se empieza a pudrir, entonces empieza a oler a podrido como si hubiera muerto una rata, un animal. Poníamos, este fue nuestro primer experimento, pusimos como unas vasijas. Desde ahí dijimos, tenemos que hacer nuestro show paranormal. Y no lo hicimos, ¿qué va? Es un hobby para nosotros porque nos fascina, porque podemos, ¿no? Tampoco es un juego, no hay que jugar con esas cosas. Pues sí, poníamos vasijas en las esquinas y donde se emanaba más energía, de repente a las 3 horas ibas y estaba lleno de agua. Y la mujer, pero ¿cómo puede ser? O sea, no. Y sí, literal, fueron como unas 3 veces que terminamos yendo, pero al fin y al cabo sí, la mujer se recuperó, salió adelante muy bien. Pero pasó algo en el camino que fue que volvieron a escuchar que se le metía alguien en la piscina en la noche. Entonces, después de haberle explicado todo esto que yo les estoy explicando a ustedes, que viven al lado de un cementerio, que hay almas suspendidas, que hay seres que alrededor, o sea, están en un lugar de tráfico, literalmente, se trató con la persona que había muerto ahí, que ya no era ni un alma, o sea, las almas cuando tú mueres en un estado grave, 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 como quemado vivo, tan traumático, es muy difícil que te liberes, o sea, porque no, o sea, literalmente si te pasa eso es porque ya estás negativizado. Entonces es como que la negatividad se aprovecha de esas situaciones y te atrapa antes de que te liberes. O sea, de que sigas el más allá, vamos a llamarle, ¿ok? Entonces, esas almas terminan siendo la persona, pero no la persona. Así como cuando tú en la película El Exorcista ves que es la persona, pero está poseído, es exactamente lo mismo, solo que sin el físico, porque en realidad lo que se posee es tu alma, no tu cuerpo físico. Entonces, una vez de que tu alma, que es la que lidera tu mente y todo tu cuerpo, está poseída, ya no tenés control de lo que podés a veces ni siquiera decir o hacer. Ya estamos hablando de casos como el exorcista, ¿no? Por eso empezamos con estos temas. Em, y este hombre tenía solamente mitad de cuerpo, o sea, era de acá a acá, negro directamente, que ya no era un hombre, era una cosa, que no hubo más como que exterminarlo, podríamos decir, porque no había nada que salvar. Si fuera un alma, normalmente ellos absorben la positividad y se limpian y siguen adelante. Bueno, era cuestión de caminar la casa totalmente a oscuras, solamente con una vela. Así es como hacemos las limpiezas de las casas. Y la vela, ¿por qué? Porque la vela te delata donde hay movimiento. ¿Sí? No tiene que haber ninguna corriente de aire, no tiene que haber nadie en la casa por riesgos. Y cuando las entidades se mueven, mueven la vela. Entonces, cuando ustedes pongan en algún momento una vela en una esquina donde no haya corriente de aire y hay movimiento, es porque ahí hay almas o entidades. ¿Ok? Háganlo. Pueden hasta hacer una oración, ¿no? Pidiendo de que, bueno, que si hay algo, pues que encuentre la luz o como sea, ¿no? Para no friquearse. Porque a la larga, pues están en todas partes. Nosotros, fíjense de que somos y vivimos en una dimensión, pero la cantidad que hay, que no vemos, que están en nuestro mismo espacio. Entonces, sí, son otros mundos. En fin y al cabo, voy en inglés y continuamos en español. ¿Ustedes alguna vez han tenido una experiencia así? Have you guys ever had any kind of experience like that? So let me tell you the story. So we were walking through the house, right? The first thing that we told, strikes again. Hey Mo, Bonsai, welcome. Lo que nos comentas, qué interesante. Gracias. Mientras voy en inglés, a ver si en algún momento ustedes tuvieron alguna, no sé, experiencia paranormal. Para mí eso fue la experiencia número 1 de mi vida, que va a estar en el libro, pero en el libro fase 2 de mi biografía, porque fue cuando empecé a vivir todo esto paranormal, cuando realmente como que puse en práctica mi don, podríamos decir, ¿no? Y ahí empecé. Pero ahora sigo. Okay, let's go in English a little bit. So, ghosts, yes. Ciudad de México, saludos. Qué interesante la práctica. Saludos, Arturo. Yeah, we're talking a little bit about ghosts because the movie The Exorcism is about to come out. We're live, you guys. Hey, so I want to know if you guys ever had any kind of experience. I'm telling you guys about my first exorcism. Not of me, of somebody else. Well, the one that I got done to myself was insane, but I even recorded it because it's like the movie of The Exorcist. That's why I said, everybody has negativity inside of them. It's inevitable today. It's just a matter of how strong is it and is it taking over? Because when you have energies inside of you that it's kind of like if you had a tick Okay, so these are ticks in your energy, in your soul. So when you're alive, right? When we have a body, I mean, well, you're always alive. You never die. But when your physical body, right? Um, you absorb them. So you absorb them at work, right? You absorb them from that tedious neighbor or that coworker that just won't stop looking at you in a nasty way, or a boss or whatever. There's always somebody that throws negative energy to you. It's the world we're living in, unfortunately. Instead of people working to progress and help each other, it's the opposite. It's what do I do to move forward and to step on that person's head. So let me go back to the house before I lose my storytelling. So this the first thing that we did, we explained, of course, to the couple about. I mean, if you're living next to sorry, cemetery to begin with, you already are exposed to energies that are lingering, that are kind of just suspended and looking for somewhere to be. And that's immediately going to attract negativity. Why? Because negativity likes to keep suspended souls trapped. Um, Basically, any kind of negative energy that you absorb living, you take with you afterwards because it's energy, you guys. This isn't something physical. Although, if it becomes part of your body long enough, it's going to become an illness. It's going to become either a tumor or something that you have physically that you're weak in, that your system is weak, or that you might even have as in your DNA, right? And it's gonna make it active. Okay, so all of a sudden you start having these problems, and it's like if you have a positive body, a pure body, then no illness can live in a positive body where the energy's flowing constantly and purely. All right, but of course, if this is an illness that's coming from something that you're ingesting, like food, then we're talking about another story. So yeah, so never generalize in these subjects, you guys. Anyway, so we started walking the house, right? And it was just this like immediate dense feeling of like, and the house was just, oh, I wish I would have filmed it. I think I only took a picture of it, of like where the fireplace was, and we immediately captured like 4 orbs on the video. It was the first picture I think I ever took of something paranormal, and it was like, oh, yep, there you are. But this was back in like what, 2010 maybe, the first. And the mansion was just so antique and so beautiful, by the way. But everything was antique. These guys were they used to love collecting antiques. So a lot of money. So they got antiques from England, from all parts of Europe, Asia. And one of the things that really caught my attention was there was a cemetery door in their yard, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I mean, on top of all the crap that you have in the house to begin with, because for me, it just makes no sense. Yes, I know that I didn't say that, by the way, of course, but that was in my mind. It was like, why would you pay thousands of dollars? I mean, they had so much antique in their house that it was millions of dollars in there. And I'm like, the first thing you got to do if you want to get better, if you got to get rid of all your antiques. There are some that were okay. I'm like, where did this come from? And she would tell me the story. I'm like, where did this come from? So we would kind of like go and start feeling what these things were charged of. And we were explaining to them, just like I'm explaining to you, that physical things do get charged with energies of people that lived around them, okay? So imagine a cemetery door. Who wants a cemetery, not a door, sorry, una reja, ¿cómo se dice reja en inglés? Fence. Okay, so it was a cemetery fence that they paid like 50K for, and it was the first cemetery fence in New York, of the first cemetery of New York. I'm like, huh, yeah, I'm sure they go in auctions and people go crazy to buy this stuff. I don't get it, but whatever, rows your boat. But the thing is, she looks at me and she says, you know what, Jenny? Every time I plant something there, it doesn't grow, because she used to love, she did garden decorations. So her garden was like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, you ever wonder why? Like, you ever think of moving the fence somewhere else? She's like, I never thought about that. And I'm like, it's metal. Metal is the #1 material that absorbs energy. That's why the most negative places in a home are two: either your kitchen or the place where the computer is If you have somebody in the house that spends a lot of time there, I'm talking about the computer people that their life is a computer, okay? Where the gamers mainly, because unless it's their work, then it's different. But if I mean people that are kind of like losing their days, and I know because I had a very close family member that was one of them. He would just smoke weed and play games all day, and the house in our house, that corner was like a big cloud of blackness. So it's basically whatever negative energy can do to keep you trapped and not progressing, it's going to do. This can be in so many different ways, okay? And so many different situations. So that was the first thing, was remove anything that's antique from your house immediately as you can. And they didn't really like that, but I think they ended up moving from the house anyway afterwards because they realized it wasn't a good spot. You figured that you would think it's not a good spot just by knowing that there was a person there that was burned alive. I'm like, oh yeah, there's your second mistake of buying this house. I'm like, what? And on top of that, that's next to a cemetery. And I don't mean like a block away. It was crossing the street. So they would tell us the story how like every night they would hear somebody jumping in the pool, like splashing. And they would look out and there would be nothing there. And they're like, there's nothing there. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, you just don't see it, but they're here. Like, there's a lot of them. And on top of the fact that you're sick, it's just you're attracting more and more of them. So you had the dead person that was in the house that was no longer a soul. So this is what happens, okay? When you die a very tragic death, like, for example, burned alive, these kind of things normally only happen if you're already kind of negative, okay? Because these are very negative ways to go. So if you're a bad person in life, this particular person abused somebody, I don't remember who, but it was a very long time ago. This is things that I just got in my mind. And well, that was, his way to go. He was burned alive in his own house. He couldn't get out of the attic. So he was stuck there. And when the person dies and they're already negative, like I said a little bit ago, when you absorb negativity in life and you're a bad person in life, you're actually taking that negativity with you because your energy leaves your body and the energy that's with your energy is going to leave with it. So it's going to do whatever it can to trap your soul, basically. All right? I'm telling you like it's a story. And unfortunately, it gets to the point where it starts possessing the soul as much as to the point where it starts disappearing. It's like it consumes it alive for many, many years or even decades, right, of trapped. So I walked through, so we were walking through the first floor and it was pitch black. This is the way that we walk through haunted houses, by the way. All dark, no lights. There can't be any air currents, and a candle, always a candle, no artificial light. Why do we use a candle? Because the movement of the energy, when you are exhaling positive energy, okay, the movement of the energies around you is going to make a wind, and that's going to make the candle move. So that was a way of us knowing in a faster way what we were dealing with and how much. And it was so much. It was just the moment we turned off the lights and we started walking and I put the candle, it was like, like it turned off. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, I was scared. I must admit, it was my first walk. It was my first time doing anything like this. So, I felt sure, like I felt like I could handle it, but I was scared because it was my first ever like face-to-face kind of like paranormal activity to that level where I was getting scratched and slapped. Okay, so it was a very interesting walk. Anyway, we started putting like these bins in the corner of rooms, and by walking and emanating in these particular rooms where there were a lot of like clouds of darkness, that's what you see. 3 hours later, where we left those bins, they were full of water, and the smell of rotten potatoes was disgusting. And that's basically what happens when you have these energies that accumulate in a house for a long time, and you start fumigating them. Okay. It's like you dissipate them, right? So this condensation that happens ends up somehow, I don't know the scientific way of explaining this, but somehow it turned into water. Very shitty smelling water. we got up to the stairs, and the moment that I get up the stairs, it was right next to that attic room that I was telling you about, and I feel this person behind me, not in a good way, and it was just like, and I talked to Enrique, and I'm like, there's something behind me. I'm like, get it away, because it was really close, and it was this person that had died there. And so I'm like, is there anything we could do for him? He's like, no, he's totally gone. And I'm like, okay, we'll get rid of it. So yeah, there's a way of, like I said before, just like you can dissipate energies, you can dissipate entities. Basically, the light burns anything. And it's almost like if you had like a purple light, and you know how it attracts mosquitoes and they die. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. I know it sounds crazy, but it works. So going into like the second room, first thing that happened was the closet room. The closet in the room went. I'm like, oh, yeah, hello there. That happened several times. I mean, it was. What was that? Oh, I keep hearing us. That happened several times, so it's normal. But the time that let me make the long story short. We finished everything. The woman got a lot better. We did our work on her. Everything changed basically, and I think they did move from there. But before they moved, because they put the house up for sale, I find out from a family member that they called a family member of mine that doesn't do any of this, and was just kind of like testing out the waters. And because they said everything went well, but they got so obsessed with the story of that I'm telling you, of the souls and the cemetery and the entities, that everything was calm for like 3 months, and then they hear one night that somebody jumps in the pool again. So they start freaking out, and they say, "Oh, okay, well, we gotta call, see if they can do something more simple this time." And there goes my family member, which I love to death. She's a master in Reiki, and she ends up opening up a portal. So I'm like, there was already a portal there to begin with. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? So sometimes people get so obsessed with these things. If you're living in a place where somebody's telling you that there's going to be a constant traffic in your damn house, you either move out or you leave it alone, then that's all you could do really, because they're there. In fact, you're sitting watching this show right now, and I promise you that near you, there's probably hundreds of people in other dimensions. People, entities, beings. You can't see them, but they're there. Just because you can't tap into that dimension doesn't mean that they don't exist. So that I'm not saying that to freak you out. I'm just saying that for you to, know to not get freaked out. On the contrary, when you hear something or anything that is out of your sight, then just that's when you got to get strong and say, well, nothing can touch me. I am strong. I'm positive. There's light around me, and whatever's here, fuck off, basically. That's what you say. And if it's good, then I hope my light can help you. Basically, that's another thing you can say. And that's a long story short. It has more. I have more things to talk about it actually, but I think we're done with our time. Creo que se nos fue la hora. A ver, ¿ya pasó la hora? Bueno, entonces, al fin del cabo, para contarles la historia esta. Ok, como decía 9 y 8. Resulta de que esta familia al final, bueno, se recuperó, se mejoró. Fue algo que estábamos subiendo, por ejemplo, empezamos en el piso de abajo. La vela que prendimos era una constante como lluvia de viento que hacía. O sea, son cosas que si no lo vivís, no lo crees. Yo no lo creía hasta que lo viví, me tocó vivirlo y fue algo tan increíble y sentía, la energía nuestra, por ejemplo, está concentrada en el coxis, en la espalda. Y yo sentía como en mi espalda pasaban vientos, pero fuertísimos. Otras veces me pinchaban, me arañaban y yo como que ¡ah! Pero la energía vital, recuerden, sale por abajo. Entonces, cada vez que yo caminaba, pues todo se atraía ahí. Era como que, ¿qué es esta luz? Era como ir caminando con una lámpara violeta de mosquitos y esas entidades venían y se quemaban. Llegamos al segundo piso y de repente le digo a Enrique, ¿hay alguien atrás mío? Y no me gusta para nada. Y Enrique se da la vuelta y dice, sí. Y era ese señor que les estoy contando, era la mitad del cuerpo totalmente quemado. No sé si conté esto en español, si me estoy repitiendo. Y bueno, se lidió con eso. Al fin del cabo, pues le fue muy bien a la familia, pero a los 3 meses luego me entero que a los 3 meses, después de que se mejoró de salud, estuvo todo bien, toda la casa bien, aparentemente volvieron a escuchar a alguien que se metió en la piscina. Y yo ya le había explicado todo, pero hay personas que se obsesionan tanto con estas cosas que entonces ya de por sí pensar de que alguien, de que hay un alma o hay una entidad que se metió a la piscina, es como que no, nuevamente va a pasar todo lo mismo. Y llamaron a un familiar mío que adoro, una tía mía que es una maestra en Reiki, para pues como que hacer una limpieza del patio de esas cosas y lamentablemente como no sabía muy bien lo que hacía, terminó abriendo un portal. Así que bueno, entonces no, tienen que tener muchos cuidados con estas cosas, a quién llaman, pidan referencias, no es algo para jugar, realmente pueden o sea, pueden arruinarle la vida a alguien, las energías pueden terminar matando a alguien, es real, existe, pasa, porque pues no es que te va a matar de un día para el otro, pero o sí, así como en la película de Actividad Paranormal. Y al fin y al cabo, pues sí, se mudaron. That's some intense stuff. How is it possible? Oh, that's what I say. Like, there's so many possible things that, unless you live them, it's unbelievable. And that's why I'm going to start my book, my autobiography. What kind of necklace is this? This is a amethyst. So this is actually a very strong stone, you guys. It converts energy. So yeah, you should have one at home. Mi collar es una matista. I got this in Egypt, actually. Yeah, I bought this from a guy that was selling them in Egypt. La compré en Egipto, la traje de Egipto. Bueno, chicos, let's do 9:30. No, we're gonna, I'll tell you more about it tomorrow because there's more things that I haven't told you. ¿Qué tal si seguimos esta charla mañana? Hay cosas que todavía no les conté. Mañana tendremos encima un invitado especial con nosotros. Quizás no estemos sentados, quizás hagamos en la cocina alguna pizza y hagamos una charla más amena, pero seguimos hablando de estos temas que están muy interesantes. Gracias por mirar, no se olviden de suscribirse en miamitvhd.com, mírenos en Roku y suscríbanse a YouTube. All right, guys, love you. Have an amazing evening. We'll continue now for members only in Miami TV. Go ahead and, if you want to join us at MiamiTVHD.com, go ahead and subscribe. If not, for the rest of you, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we have a special guest that's going to be with us, a dear friend of ours. And I think we're going to be able to continue talking about these subjects because, yeah, he also has a lot of stories. So we might be doing a special kitchen talk show tomorrow. All right, guys? And for members, we're going to do a Naked Kitchen after this. So join us there. Para nuestros miembros tenemos ahora Naked Kitchen seguido a esto porque pues hay que cenar, ¿no? Chao. Bye guys. Stay positive. Adiós.